that such organizing of such events should not happen, then you should also not be worrying. But they are worrying because the reasons are like the writings on the wall. Everybody knows what they have been doing. Everybody know what they have been, doing their politics on, and that is only on the likes of caste. So that is the base of that is only caste. Now, when you shake that up, rhetorics and baseless questions come up like they are coming in your debate.
So you're saying Tripathi ji's party and Mishra ji's party is doing caste politics? Now they are scared. They will not be able to hold caste congregations. And that is something which is a worry for them. And that is why they are opposing it. Is what Siddharth Yadav is saying.
Just give me 10 seconds.
Please go ahead.
Just give me 10 more seconds. There is no worry if Tripathi ji wants to be proud of being a Tripathi. If somebody else wants to be proud of their own caste.
Exactly.
That's not the problem. The problem is the ism. The problem is the casteism.
Yes.
The Jativad. It's not.
I agree with you, Siddharth.
The Jativad is the problem.
See, I agree with you, Siddharth. Because now today on the panel, I have a Shantanu Gupta, I have a Siddharth Yadav, I have a Ratnakar Tripathi and Dr. Puja Mishra. Now tell me, Mr. Tripathi, I asked you a very simple question. Are you not proud of being a Tripathi? You just dug that question for me. The problem is not being proud of being a Tripathi. I'm sure you'll say yes to that. I'm sure your answer will be an affirmative.
What are you?
But the problem is when you think that this is what you're going to spin and use for your politics.
Shall I speak now, ma'am?
Please go ahead.
Yes. What we are opposing is the political motive behind this circular. What they want to do is gag the voice of the OBCs and tribes.
How are they doing that?
Just a minute. The good thing would have started from removing the DGP. The observation is there. The DGP coming from a third world background seems to have a little exposure of the complex realities of Indian society. He has conducted himself as an ivory caste policeman and detached from the constitutional morality. Why didn't the DGP was removed? After this,
now who's looking at the caste of police officers here, Mr. Tripathi? Who is looking at the caste of police officers here?
Because they want to rule.
No, now Dr. Puja Mishra's party is also doing that. They've always been holding Yogi Adityanath culpable of looking at caste in transfers, in postings, even in encounters. Now you're also doing that. You're looking at caste you're looking for the caste for police officers, Dr. Puja Mishra.
I wanna come in.
Please go ahead.
Didn't you know the incident? Didn't you know the incident from the Kanpur? The Dalit CMO was, removed. Rather, the Thakur DM was retained for the same issue. They were in conflict with the same issue. Now, I wanna just answer those questions. Who picked up the historical lines like who the Ved Vyas was, her mother was from Maharashtra and her father was obviously from Brahmin. And picking up historical incident, we can pick the current too. Why Karan was denied by Guru Dronacharya? Why Eklavya's thumb was taken by the Guru Dronacharya? There are a lot of incidents. We don't want to go on that debate.
Chandru wants to counter. Chandru wants to counter.
We don't want to go on that debate. We don't want to go on that debate. We are currently talking about the mindset where in the constitution it is written that on the mobilization of caste basis, rally on the caste basis for the upliftment of caste is wrong. It is not written anywhere. The government is trying not let these people mobilize because they know that they have done nothing good for them. And when they will mobilize, they will go against the government. So you're saying you will continue to
mobilize people in caste? Is that what you're saying? You will continue to mobilize people in caste?
Court direction. And the author, he just picked up a few.
No, but now if this order is for Uttar Pradesh, ma'am, you will have to adhere to it, no? If this order is for Uttar Pradesh, you will have to adhere to it, or you are saying that you will not?
No, we are parties. We don't defy the rules and regulation. We follow the rules and regulation. But the BJP government is indulged into casteism. In the BJP regime, the caste-based crime has increased by 25% approx. And now they are saying that the mobilization shouldn't be there. The community shouldn't have their own meetings. There shouldn't be a political rally.
No.
Why you are saying that there shouldn't be political rally?
You cannot have meetings,
if a committee was to have
the idea is to not have political congregations. And if Shantanu wanted to respond, Shantanu, quickly respond to what Ms. Mishra was saying.
I think I don't know what understanding of Mahabharata Ramayana she has. I can take a separate session on Ramayana Mahabharata. I am doing a lot of books and work
I can do
extensively
that
on
too
Ramayana.
also, but I'm not here for that. That's why I said
Please
you
don't
just think
shout.
of
Please
what
don't shout. You can
incident
do
I
that in your
think
party
that
office.
also
Don't
very-
shout here. Thank you.
Camera 4.
See,
Acha.
Sucharita, when you reach out to people for vote, you evoke various identities. Sometimes
Okay.
male, female, sometimes urban, rural, sometimes caste, sometimes rich, poor. You evoke various identities. You connect to people, various identities. But in other entities, there is no major problem, right? But in caste, it is got convoluted. So now various reformers are trying to reform it. And Yogi Adityanath is booking a welcome step. He's taking one more step than the court order. Court order only wanted the caste records not in police record. He went ahead and said this should not be in the rally sabhas also. It's a welcome move. I don't know why on earth someone has a problem with this.
I think it is a welcome step, Dr. Mishra. I precisely asked you that would you be following it or would you say that you would not adhere to it, because it is something that is the steps are being taken so that we can fight the vices. We can fight the wrong that has been there. So caste is a reality in India, everybody knows that. But there are certain prejudices which need to be fought. And that is precisely why we are having this debate, that we all need to join hands together. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you for joining me on this debate tonight. And this is very clear that there are certain steps being taken by the UP government to wipe out the prejudices that have been there in the society. And it's very, very important that we all join hands and unite and move forward. And moving on, shocking developments have emerged in Navi Mumbai in the kidnapping case linked to Puja Khedkar's family. The victim, a truck helper, has stated that he was abducted, confined and physically assaulted, prompting police to add multiple charges including kidnapping, extortion, criminal intimidation and wrongful confinement. Now, Dilip and Manorama Khedkar reportedly obstructed police officers and attempted to evade justice by disappearing from their residence. Puja Khedkar herself has a controversial past, having previously faced scrutiny for allegedly faking a disability to gain entry into the Indian administrative services. Now, the family's actions raise serious questions about entitlement, misuse of privilege, and how VVIPs can exploit power with seeming impunity. Authorities have issued lookout notices, but the case exposes the limits of the system when wealth and influence are involved. This scandal underscores a troubling pattern of privilege shielding individuals from accountability, and it prompts urgent reflection on how laws are enforced against the powerful.
Prahlad Kumar, the helper of a cement mixer truck, reportedly graced the SUV owned by Dilip Khedkar, father of former IS officer Puja Khedkar. Agitated, Dilip Khedkar allegedly bundled up the helper, shoved him in the SUV and kidnapped him. The victim was then forcibly taken from Navi Mumbai to Pune. When police reached to rescue the victim, Prahlad Kumar, Puja Khedkar's mother confronted cops. Khedkars let the dogs out to attack and scare the policemen. And since then, Khedkars are on the run. Republic caught hold of one of Khedkar's drivers. He confessed that the kidnapped victim was kept in the house.
कब से आप काम कर रहे हैं उनके यहाँ?
1 महीना हो गया।
1 महीना हो गया। अभी घर में कोई है?
नहीं।
आ जाइए आराम से, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। आराम से, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। घर में कोई है?
नहीं कोई नहीं।
आप ड्राइवर काम करते हैं?
हाँ।
अच्छा, कब से नहीं है वो लोग? आ जाइए आगे आइए। कब से नहीं है?
हाँ?
कब से नहीं है वो लोग पूरा खेडकर घर वाले?
वो पता नहीं सर मेरे को।
अभी नहीं है ना?
अभी नहीं है।
कोई भी नहीं है?
नहीं है।
दूसरा ये कि जो लेके आए थे उसको कहाँ पे रखे थे? आप बता रहे थे ना? कहाँ पे रखे थे?
हमारे साथ ही था वो रूम में।
The rescued victim narrated ordeal and shared how he was locked up inside a room, fed stale food and threatened with dire consequences. Lookout notices have been issued against Puja Khedkar's parents to prevent them from fleeing the country. Manorama Khedkar was arrested last year too after a video of her brandishing gun went viral. While Puja Khedkar, a 2023 batch IS officer, is under investigation over wrongfully availing OBC benefits and disability concessions. A family involved in crimes and a system allowing the daughter to fake disability and joins IAS, allowing her mother to wave a gun, grab land and get away without arrest, allowing her father, a retired government official, to kidnap a man. If this is not a complete mockery of law and order, then what is?
And I'm joined by Krishna Hegde, spokesperson for the Shiv Sena. I'm joined by senior advocate Swapnil Kothari. Also, a retired senior IPS officer PK Jain joins us on the debate, and Congress leader Ratnakar Tripathi stays on for this debate as well. Now, let me start by asking you, Mr. Hegde. This is complete brazenness. This is complete disregard for the law, and it is happening one after the other to the same family. Now, they know that there is a certain sense of entitlement. They will not be caught, and there will be questions that will be asked from you. What is happening in Maharashtra?
No one is above the law, I must state here.
I hope
Earlier
so.
also, when Puja Khedkar was on the run, she was apprehended. Her mother was also arrested in an earlier case. This time also, the bodyguard has been arrested. There has been a lookout circular against the family, and they are again on the run. And Puja Khedkar, a probationary IS officer, has also been removed from service. And therefore, there is no one above the law. Whether you are entitled or no, the law takes up its own course and brings justice to the person who's actually in a problem. And similarly, if they have kidnapped a person, there have been cases registered against them. Now a lookout notice also there. And earlier also, when they were on a run, they were arrested. And this time also, the law will take its own turn, and they will soon be behind bars.
No. Mr. Hegde, let me just point this out to you. A family that is already on the radar will think twice before committing another sin. Now, what does Puja Khedkar's father do? Dilip Khedkar, along with his bodyguard, kidnaps the helper of a truck rescued from their home in Pune because their luxury SUV had collided with the vehicle and they wanted him to compensate for the damage. Now, this man was rescued from Khedkar residence. He was abducted. He was kidnapped. Now, this family is on the run. This family is being washed over. But they still managed to kidnap a helper and keep him abducted at their residence. What was happening? What was the police doing?
This was a road rage accident. They pulled up the helper from the road rage accident and they confined him to their house. And when the police got to know, because the truck driver and the truck owner had lodged a complaint, the police landed up at their place. They were not allowed to go in, but the police did their job, and now the couple, the Khedkar couple is on the run.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hegde, but what does this mean? The police was not allowed entry into their house. They've abducted an individual, kept him in their house, and the police was not allowed entry. And what did the police do? They waited.
No, the police forced themselves into the house.
This happened much later, sir.
Into the house.
What I'm trying to say is,
forced themselves into the house.
What I'm trying to say is, this family is already on the radar, manages to do a wrong every time and still escape. How is that happening? I do not understand. If Mr. Jain, if I can bring you into the debate. Mr. Jain, how is that happening? There's a sense of entitlement.
Can you tell me one thing?
There is a sense of entitlement. And there is something that is keeping them, there is definitely something which is keeping them safe.
Or was it the
what is going on?
Manorama Khedkar bail?
Yeah, hi, good evening. Thank you very much for getting me in on this debate. Well, it's a fact that they are habitual offenders. They have been committing crimes with an impunity. Earlier also, they got a lot of relief from the courts. And now in this case, where a person had been abducted from the crime scene, and he was taken to their residence, confined there for 2 days, the police went inside and got him rescued. But after that, they just walked away because the lady of the house, she put up a resistance and they walked away from there. In fact, they should have have posted a guard there, and they should have ensured. And when the abducted person had confirmed that the two criminals were there in that house at that time, and yet the police walked away in their totality, they should not have done that. They should have posted up a person out there, even if they had to leave at that time, and come back with the lady constables or whatever they wanted to, other arrangements they wanted to make. They should have done that, and they should have ensured that none of these people who have a history of absconding, they would have absconded. So it's absolutely clear. Somewhere there has been a little slip. But as Mr. Hegde says, that eventually they will be caught. The punishment for the crime is up to 10 years in case somebody is abducted for ransom. So under Section 140 of the BNS now. So the punishment is quite severe, and sure they will be arrested now. Of course, it was a slip up on the part of the police, but it is not a mistake which cannot be rectified. So I feel that the action has now been taken by the police. They should in fact go a step ahead now. Under the old CRPC and under the BNSS now, there is a provision for confiscating and attaching their properties. They should move the court immediately after this to declare them absconders and offenders, and move to attach their properties. That's what they should be the next immediate step now.
Now, on the onset, at the onset, Swapnil, this seemed like, it seems so much of a drama that one is not really able to believe that there's one family fitting into this whole drama time and again. It's this family, the Khedkar family. And now it's surprising, they deliberately obstructed the investigation. They misbehaved with the police officers. They even set a dog on the police team. And what does the police team do? They ask them to come to the station, which they never do. What is going on?
Yeah, Sucharita, what happens at times is that in as much as the efficiency that the police shows, sometimes the people who are criminals, they think one step ahead or two steps ahead. Now, normally I'm usually against the police in these kind of things, that they should act proactively. They should be forcing entry themselves. They should be doing this. They should be doing that. You know, it's all very easy for us to sit here and comment on these things, Sucharita. But the point is that what happens here is that in this particular case, if you've noticed, the police has done as much as it could from its side, minus one or two things here or there, which I think they could have done better, but I would not want to comment on that because I don't see, you know, it's, as I said, that is theoretically correct, but I think all the appropriate sections have been levied. Lookout circular has been issued. It's not going to be a long period of time before this family is caught or these people who are absconders who are caught. Now, one of the provisions, as one of my panelists mentioned, is that you try to attach the property. Now, that is something which the police can do proactively, and it has within its powers to do so. The moment you do that, the moment you file an application of this sort, and you make it public that this application, you will find these absconders scurrying away, who scurried away like rats will be back. So this is something which the police should be doing. The police, I think, to the best of my knowledge from whatever I've read about it, has done sufficiently well enough. But as I said, Sucharita, not every time the police is going to be able to be on top of the criminals.
Swapnil, I'm sorry, but I do not agree with you. Because it cannot be, my surprise and my question stem from the fact that it's happening to the same family again and again. Why, how is that possible? As I said, they're already on the radar and they happen to do this again and again. And still there is a hesitation. Why is the police not acting? Why are they waiting for them to act? Why were they waiting for the parents, Puja's parents, to come to the police station?
No, they're not going to be waiting. Right. Sucharita, I don't think that they're waiting. They're going to have to file this application for attachment of property. Nobody's waiting for anybody because they know that these people are smart absconders. These people are smart cookies. So on this point, I don't think that police is as naive. Unless there is some sort of a political influence somewhere, because I don't know who this person is, Puja Khedkar, some IAS officer who had, falsified her records to get into this cadre and all those kind of things. You have these kind of people who do this all the time. But the point is that I do not want to pinpoint the, finger at the police until unless I have a certain sense of, certainty, the way it was in the Pune Porsche case, where I knew that police was in hand in gloves because lower sections are levied and all those kind of things. Because the best way that the police tends to compromise the investigation is when they levy sections that are lower than which they could have been levied. So now here in this case, I would not want to point a finger because I think appropriate sections have been levied, Sucharita. Now, if you see this probe being dragged, if you see the police not doing what it's supposed to do, then you and I will be on the same page on a particular debate.
I will ask this to Mr. Tripathi. I will take this question to Mr. Tripathi. Mr. Tripathi, do you think the police has done enough? Swapnil is saying here that the police has done enough and it is looking after this case. It is going to be taken care of. But are you convinced?
Do you think so? I don't think so.
I have serious questions.
They are not habitual offenders. They are habitual criminals. And they have a history of that. Swapnilji was saying, Swapnilji, on 16 July 2024, this madam along with her husband was caught in a hotel in Raigad with fake name, Indu Bai Dhyandev Thakne and Dada Saheb Dhyandev Thakne. Had the police registered that case of fake identity, that would have been 420. More than 7 years of imprisonment. They would have gone to jail for a long time. But the police didn't impose. So, Sucharita, the problem is of the blue blood clan, the community of IAS and IPS, who just help each other, nothing else. How can this Manorama Khedkar, a wife of an IAS, she just flashes revolver and pistols on the farmers. Then she abducts one person, this IAS and this his wife. She abducts and drives her and keep him for 2 days.
Shocking.
And the police is saying, no, I cannot enter. We cannot enter the premises because we don't have the lady constable. You have to there. Please. You would have called the lady constables, more police personnel. Had it been the case of other people. But no, the government and the IAS and the IPS protect each other in cheating, corruption, crime, and every bad thing. That is happening with that Khedkar. And one more thing, I have one objection, Sucharita ji. She is not a former IAS officer.
Yes.
As somebody said, in your show. She's a fraud.
She's a fraud.
She's a fraud who entered the IAS clan. This should be said.
No, why are there serious questions and serious concerns, Mr. Jain? Because there are people who really work hard to get into the Indian administrative services. Here is somebody who's relying on fraud and dubious means to do that. And then, not just that, there will be a question that will be asked, why this kind of VVIP entitlement to this family? Over and over again. That will be a question that will be asked by all those who've been working hard.
Can I?
And look at the mother holding the gun and telling it's like telling the people that I hold power. I'm the one who will dictate terms.
Absolutely, this is called magruri. This is absolutely called magruri. They whatever little power they had has gone to their heads. Incidentally, Puja Khedkar's father is not an IAS officer. He is one of the junior officers in the department. That is one thing I would like to clarify. And secondly, Puja Khedkar has not been supported by the IAS community. She has been thrown out of service. She has got a lot of relief from the Supreme Court. That's unfortunate. But the fact remains that they must face the music. As one of my co-panelists has just said, there was another case where they stayed under a false name. The case should have been, such a family and such criminal people with such criminal background should be hounded. And they should be hounded with all the force of the law, which apparently is not happening the way it ought to happen. Unfortunate, but a fact of life.
That is true. Mr. Tripathi, Swapnil wants to come in. Mr. Tripathi, okay, you can raise your question first, then I'll go to Swapnil.
I don't know who was speaking, but he was not thrown by the IAS community. He was thrown because she was thrown because she was caught that she's a fraud. And what happened? She ordered her own superior.
No, but what Mr. Jain is saying that nobody is supported. Everybody stood up against her. They questioned her.
10 seconds, Sucharita ji.
Please go ahead.
You tell me, a family, the whole clan who is a habitual criminal.
Yes.
Swapnil said, they were just
Can I come in here, please?
charged with a lower section. How could it happen? Unless until there is a pressure from the senior IAS and IPS officers. They have the connection. The blue blood connection.
Okay, they have a connection is what Ratnakar Tripathi is saying. Krishna Hegde.
The first report was put up by
Mr.
the collector
Hegde,
of
Mr.
Pune
Tripathi is very clearly saying there has to be a connection, there has to be someone supporting them, otherwise they would not get away every time.
No, what? Mr.
Get the phone
Tripathi
call,
from
sir.
the
You
Congress-
will know it. Get the phone call.
Sucharita,
Detail
if I
of the
could
phone
come in.
calls.
No,
And
no,
you will know
Mr.
the
Tripathi is from the
whole
Congress and
story.
everything he has to do is blame everybody. Now he is taking one probationary IAS officer and painting all IAS officers in the same brush. I think that is very unfair. Secondly, let me tell you, where have been they protected? For the last 3-4 instances, wherever they have gone wrong, the police has gotten onto their case, they have been arrested, the bodyguard has been arrested, a lookout notice has been put, the probationary IAS officer has been removed. Everywhere they have committed a fault or a crime, they have been booked. And even in this case, they are not going to be spared. No one is going to be spared.
Will you give
Today
us a
they are on the
timeline?
run. Tomorrow
Will
they
you give
be
us a
in jail.
timeline?
It is very
Or we
clear.
will keep waiting and then hear another
the first report
instance?
was sent by
Will we
the
hear
collector
another
Pune.
instance? Or you will give us a
Sucharita.
timeline, Mr. Hegde?
Now, if a
Sucharita.
family is the habitual offender, I cannot take guarantee for them what they do. I can just say that the court should not give such people bail. I can only request the courts not to give such people bail. What can I, as an individual or a spokesperson, take guarantee on a Khedkar family who is habitually doing these things and getting away because there is some, there is some lacuna in the law. So therefore, these people have
But
to be
sir, they're
tightened
on
up.
the run.
It's
There
not
are
the
lookout
first time,
notices
second time,
issued
third time
against
they're
them.
doing.
They
They're
are
habitual
on the
offenders.
run. There are
Everyone
lookout
is saying that.
notices. You can't just get away by saying, how can I say, when are they going to come and face the law? There has to be some kind of, you will have to give people a guarantee that you will be
now also
nabbing
they
them.
will be arrested. They have to face the law. I was only speaking
It's not-
about the decision
Sucharita.
making of the court, that the court should not give them bail again
Yeah.
and again.
Sucharita,
Okay,
can I
Mr.
come in?
Kothari, go ahead.
Yeah, Sucharita, the point is very simple. If it's a bailable offense, the bail will be given. If it's a non-bailable offense, then the bail should not be given. Now, that is the discretion of the court. I don't want to step into that territory because that is outside the realms of the police. The police has to ensure, which I'm sure it will, that there is a tight case. And if there was a case which went unregistered last time, they should be registering that case now. Criminal cases don't have a limitation period. So you want to do that, you want to tighten the case, tighten the rules, unless and until, as Mr. Tripathi pointed out, if there is some sort of a connection or if there is some sort of a political patronage, then that's something which you and I will have to face. Now, if you tell me that, "Arey, gun nikal ke bata diya," I can show you 100 people on the streets of Delhi or Mumbai who will have a gun and who will show you a gun. So I
No,
don't
but
think that
Swapnil,
we
is
have
that a
adequate
question that
numbers.
only Mr. Ratnakar Tripathi is asking?
Sucharita.
No.
It's wishful thinking. कि लोगों के पास बंदूक नहीं होनी चाहिए and somebody will be
I agree
have
with
something
you.
of this
I
sort
give
with
it
some
to you
connection.
that a lot of people would be holding a gun license. But what I'm saying is the question that Mr. Ratnakar Tripathi is asking, is that only his question? Would not people who are looking at this story, who've been completely following this story, would be asking the same questions? Why this
Yes.
sense of entitlement to this family again and again?
No. Yeah, but I would not use the word entitlement. I don't think there is some sort of entitlement because a lot of arrests have been made. A lookout circular has been issued. There is a particular procedure that you follow as per the CRPC and as per the BNS and all those,
No, let Mr. Jain have a final word on that.
So
Because
if
he
the
knows
procedure has
about
been
the
followed, then I
protocol,
think
he
we
knows
should
about
wait.
the procedures. Let Mr. Jain have a final word on that. Mr. Jain?
See, the fact remains that they will be arrested. It's only a matter of time.
Okay.
The moment the police moves, I have seen in the most hardened of the cases where the police moves for attachment of property, the accused promptly come, and here this family has a lot to lose. They are sitting on about 150 crore of rupees worth of property. So the moment their property is going to be attached, they will immediately make a beeline to the police station. So the thing which they did not do at 3 p.m. on that day, they will do now promptly, provided this action is taken. I'm sure the police everybody knows about these sections. The only thing is the will and the determination to take that action. Only that is required. And I'm sure that this guy must be having some kind of a political protection because he has been getting some kind. He's getting away very lightly in terms of a common man would have been hounded by the police by this time. Here the police goes to his residence, gets a person released from there, and yet the accused are not arrested on the spot. It's unfortunate, but it has happened. So I think somebody has to tighten up their girdle and take a strict action in this case.
Mr. Tripathi, final word.
Now, let me tell you, Mr. Hegde and Mr. Swapne, how they are helped. When they were caught from the hotel on a fake identity, the acts of fake identity, impersonation, and forging the document should have been imposed. That would have given them a more than 7 years of imprisonment. And they wouldn't have, please, don't interrupt. They wouldn't have come on bail. Now let me tell you one more thing. Flashing a a licensed revolver or pistol to threaten someone, the license should have been cancelled. And I know it. I'm not saying I believe it. I know it hasn't been cancelled.
No, I just think.
सर मुझे सब सेक्शन पता है. मैं खाली आपको बोल रहा हूँ कि वो हो जाएगा, होने वाला होगा, तब हो जाएगा.
कब होगा?
Those questions are being asked by a lot of people, not just Mr. Tripathi, is what I'm saying. I don't have any time left on the debate. Thank you so much for joining me on this debate. All I want to say is that there is a certain sense of entitlement that a lot of people feel that this family has got, and that is precisely why they are raising questions. But moving on, Trump back with his finger-pointing diplomacy, targets India yet again, says India-China main funders of the Russia war. The big debate on the other side with Niranjan and Abhishek.
At Ultraviolet, we believe it's time for India to take pole position. And what do we mean by that? I think for years now, we've looked to the east or the west for the best examples of design and technology. And today we believe we have all of the talent in hardware, software and design to really innovate, disrupt and put India at pole position when it comes to every aspect of technology, right? And for us, we go back a long way. Neeraj and myself were both working abroad. I was in Europe, Neeraj was in the US, and we took a call to get back to India in 2015. Spent about a year in researching what we want to get into in the world of electric vehicles, and it's been an 8-year journey for us since then.
Since 2016, we've been working on the core technologies necessary to build out the entire EV platform. From the battery technology, the BMS, the motor control systems, the power electronics to the chargers, and to the entire vehicle platforms. It's taken us over 8 years of research, testing, development, validation, and today we're so proud that we have a platform that we've validated for global markets, and we've started now to ship to Europe as well.
Right, and the last 8 years of R&D, like Neeraj mentioned, has given us platforms across motorcycles, scooters, basically all forms of two-wheelers that is going to be certified and hitting the roads of Europe and multiple parts of the world. And on those lines, one of the most important milestones for us this year has been the fact that we are the first electric startup in the two-wheeler space that has gone global, and our vehicles are across 10 countries in Europe, across Paris, Berlin and London, and yeah, it's an incredible feeling.
And it's an incredibly proud moment to see our motorcycles, our made in India motorcycles, how we call it, imagined, designed, and manufactured in India. And these are now plying the roads in Paris, in the autobahns in Germany, and it's a super exciting moment for us.
And we hope this is a spark for multiple companies to follow and soon make India the powerhouse of everything towards the future.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
मेरी गाड़ी ठोकेगा? पर गलती तो आपकी है। मेरी गलती? तू जानता है मेरा बाप कौन है? ये देखो, पापा और गलती दोनों याद आ जाएंगे। अब देखा किसने सिग्नल तोड़ा?
Cubo dash cams. Get smart, get Cubo.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
विराज रायचन स्टील।
स्टील? आपने वरदान स्टील का नाम सुना होगा?
Of course. आप मिस्टर वरदान के बेटे हैं?
नहीं।
छोटे भाई?
नहीं।
दामाद?
नहीं।
फिर?
शेयर होल्डर।
शेयर होल्डर?
सही टाइम पे उनके शेयर्स खरीदे, तभी आज मैं यहाँ हूँ।
जो आगे की सोचते हैं, ग्रो करते हैं। डाउनलोड ग्रो फॉर स्टॉक्स, म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड IPO।
प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
ये बड़ी गाड़ी वाले ऐसे ही रैश चलाते हैं।
चुप! तुमने तो गाड़ी वालों को ही विलन बना दिया।
ये देखो।
Cubo dash cans. Get smart, get Cubo.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for the debate.
Welcome back, friends. It's me and Niranjan filling in for Arnab Goswami. He's back soon, but we have a problem, friends. You and me and India. And that problem is called President Donald Trump. And the reason is, in the morning, there is a different Donald Trump than in the evening. The post that he makes today is different than the one he made yesterday on the issue of India, on the issue of India-Pakistan ceasefire, on the issue of India buying Russian oil. And in this kabhi ha, kabhi na, our diplomats have a task at hand. Remember, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is in New York to participate in the United Nations General Assembly, and we are discussing an address made by President Trump himself. While, of course, it was aimed at every corner of the world, including a teleprompter right there in front of him. But so far as we are concerned, it's back. The pendulum has swung back to the earlier position, which was troubling, not just the tariff part of India-United States relationship, but the larger equation as well. In that UNGA address, President Trump mentioned again that he got the ceasefire done between India and Pakistan. Not only that, he repeated his charge that India is bankrolling Russia's war. Thankfully, he brought in China also, and that's our focus. Are we back to square one with President Trump? Niranjan joins me.
Well, there's one problem, though, Abhishek. Now, we don't know whether Trump meant it, didn't mean it, because he didn't read off a prompter, right? And for the first time, when he was forced to go extempore, he has mentioned India-Pakistan ceasefire, and this comes after a long time. Now, the entertainment part of this entire speech, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, we just ended a few minutes ago, almost a 90-minute speech. He was allotted about 10 to 15 minutes, took about 90 minutes. Donald Trump has attacked India not once or twice, several times in his speech. Here are some of the excerpts of what the US president said a short while ago.
This war would never have started if I were president. This was a war that should have never happened. It shows you what leadership is, what bad leadership can do to a country. Look what happened to the United States, and look where we are right now in just a short period of time. The only question now is how many more lives will be needlessly lost on both sides. China and India are the primary funders of the ongoing war by continuing to purchase Russian oil. But inexcusably, even NATO countries have not cut off much Russian energy and Russian energy products, which, as you know, I found out about 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't happy. Think of it. They're funding the war against themselves. Who the hell ever heard of that one? In the event that Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs, which would stop the bloodshed, I believe, very quickly. But for those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. I mean, you're much closer to the city. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them, and it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that. They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia.
Joining us on the debate this evening are Ambassador Deepak Vora, former diplomat, Peter Kuznick, is anti-Trump. He's an American but opposes Trump primarily. Will be joining us. Aina Tangen giving us the Chinese perspective today. Nikita Menkovich from Russia. He's live from Moscow. He's the head of the Eurasian Analytical Club. And I also have Alexander Sajan who will be joining us. He's pro-Trump, GOP grassroots strategist for the Republican Party. And Purnima Nath is also on the debate tonight. Backs Trump. Essentially, I want to start with your Ambassador Deepak Vora. I don't know what's going on with this man called Donald Trump. I don't know whether you had the chance to listen to that speech fully, but I had kept the best for the last. There was a clip where he attacked the teleprompter. He attacked the escalator at the United Nations. Do we have that soundbite? If I have that soundbite, I'd like to play that out. But I'll give you the first chance. Ambassador Vora, this was hilarious what happened at the UN today. But the news point, he goes back to square one vis-a-vis India.
All right. Thank you very much. As always, a pleasure to be with you, sir. And I'll be waiting to learn from the other panelists whose knowledge is much more than mine. This man is a supreme geopolitical arsonist. By the way, he believes that it takes 1 to tango. You don't need 2. He's rewriting all the rules of international geopolitics. Now, some people say that we should have handled Trump better. In fact, Trump should be handling India better. All the provocations have come from him and the sycophants around him. You know, his cabinet members, this goes back to the time of the mafia. They compete with each other to abuse India so that they think that this is going to win them brownie points with President Trump, whose mercurial nature is well known. Let me conclude and leave the floor to the others with just one point. Our relationship with the United States is the most important that we have. Their relationship with us is not the most important that they have. Therefore, we are at a disadvantage to begin with. It's an extremely important relationship with us. We are reluctant to destroy, which is why we haven't hit back when he has used foul language against us and his sycophants. We haven't done it. Now, what happens? If his anger has run its course, possibly he will end yet another war, which is between President Donald Trump and himself. That will be the 8th one, and he should get a Nobel Prize for that. But I certainly do believe that we are in a position today where we've made it clear that we're not going to hand over our foreign policy to the United States.
Okay. Since we are yet to get Peter and Alexander on the panel, I want to go to Aina Tangen and start this, bring in the China view also. Aina, you heard President Trump making that UNGA address. Your quick takeaway. I mean, he put the blame squarely on India and China for bankrolling Russia's Ukraine war.
Well, for a 15-minute speech, he went over 90 minutes, and he certainly had enough vitriol for everybody. It's not just India. He's said climate change is a hoax. He doesn't like anything to do with immigrants, etc., as he's shown by putting a $100,000 tax on H-1B visa recipients, of which 73% are Indian. I don't think you can mistake what he's doing. I'm surprised that the ambassador is so open, saying, well, it's an important relationship, but it's only important if the United States values it. And you can say that Trump is one person, but he's been elected twice now, separate terms. And quite frankly, he has moved bookends. There's not a lot of difference in his foreign policy between him and the rest of the Republicans, so you can expect more of the same. But this was like a campaign speech that he would generally give. And remember, behind all of this, he is desperate to change the narrative on the Epgate, the Jeffrey Epstein files. He's losing it in his own party, his own base. They are rebelling against him, and he will do almost anything to change that narrative.
Okay, Peter Kuznick is with us. Peter, you heard Einar. He says that this was campaign speech. This was Trump essentially addressing his mega constituency, and it essentially was a rant against the rest of the world.
Yes, I caught the end of the previous speaker, and I thought what he was saying made a lot of sense. This was, as with everything with Trump, a totally unorthodox speech. No other president in American history would make a speech like this at the United Nations. It was Trump talking to MAGA world. It was Trump's grievances, but he added some new grievances. I hadn't heard that riff about wanting to rebuild the United Nations.
Escalator,
they turned him down.
I'll lead into it some moment.
It was a typical Trump, how great I am and how bad the world is. And if they only listen to me, the world could be great like the United States. But it was full of Trump's usual lies, his exaggerations, and his hostile attitude. Now, India is a particular target of his now. And as we saw with the H-1B visas this week, that was targeted India, the 50% tariff rate against Indian goods. Another example, but we see the world is moving a different direction. I don't know if Trump sees that or what he sees and understands, but at the SCO meeting, when we saw Putin and Modi holding hands and meeting with Xi Jinping, we see what's happening with the BRICS, we see what's happening with the Global South. Much of the world is simply, if not ignoring Trump because he's hard to ignore, they're looking for new kinds of trade relationships, new kinds of alliances, a new kind of world order based on different security parameters as well as economic relations.
Okay.
And so Trump is really, a distant, solitary voice, but one who is being behind the scenes laughed at, but they're afraid of him because he's got so much power.
Yeah, but the sad part is, you see, but there are these MAGA supporters. Purnima Nath, I'm assuming, is one of them. I don't know whether she still is. But I'd like to get your perspective on that. Purnima, you're there. The Indian diaspora, hit, attacked, humiliated by Donald Trump and his MAGA supporters, right? It's pathetic. A few days back, we were here in the studios saying Trump has reached out. He had reached out. And the Prime Minister reciprocated. This is a madman. I'm sorry, but America has a madman as president, right? And then we have many people like you, Purnima, who think Donald Trump is a great president. Do you think he's a great president?
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Namaskar, first of all. You mentioned about MAGA. So let me tell you what MAGA was to me. MAGA was making America great again by making sure our border was secured. Our people had the opportunities, and also we have law and order. There was no way in the earth I have ever thought that MAGA meant, or America First actually meant that America supreme, American hegemony, American supremacy, and they can literally bomb boats in international water. They can dictate what other countries are going to do. They can dictate who they're going to do business with. And I'm sorry to say that MAGA was never that. This is not what I've supported. This is not what I voted for. This is not what I campaigned for. And you would see me speaking out very loudly about it. And I'm also getting the flack of the so-called maggot world, and I call them maggot MAGA cultists at this point of time. And unfortunately, sir, I did not see this coming. This is not what I supported. So when somebody says that I was part of MAGA, absolutely 100%, no doubt. But this is not what I supported. What President Trump and the maggots are actually doing today is a shame, is pathetic, is absolutely insulting to every single individual in the world if you are not an American. And sadly so, Americans are saying that even me, somebody who has supported President Trump 3 times and voted, campaigned, and brought Hindu votes to the MAGA fold, the Republican fold, they're calling us non-American, they're calling us to be ousted, they're calling us we are not American patriot at all. This is where it has come down to. So I'm ashamed that I've supported something that they actually led us to believe that we are doing something right. They lied, they deceived, they literally trashed the major supporter, a minority like us, sir.
That's a big thing you are saying, Purnima Nath, in fact. I think you spoke from your heart, Niranjan, right? I got a sense that she's speaking from her heart. But is this the message that's getting lost somewhere in Washington, D.C.? Before I can, get in the Russian voice, I want to go to Ambassador Vora once. Ambassador Vora, are the 2 Washington DCs we are dealing with? One at Foggy Bottom and the other at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is the White House. Is it that in the morning, for example, or last night, we had Secretary Marco Rubio and the Department of State posting that this is a critical relationship that the United States has with India. And by evening in DC, by morning in DC and evening here, you have President Trump again, bringing in the issue of India-Pakistan ceasefire and India's purchase of Russian oil. Just yesterday, we had the H-1B visa issues. America, of course, the White House, of course, knows that it hits India the hardest. And then just go back 5 days back, and we had that kind of what seemed like a detente happening, with President Trump pulling back, not mentioning India, Pakistan, praising Prime Minister Modi, wishing him on his birthday exactly 5 days back. Ambassador Vora, you think there are 2 Washington, D.C.'s conundrum that we are dealing with?
That's a brilliant observation. I was posted there, and even then, there was a lot of fog generated by Foggy Bottom that engulfed the White House. I do remember when we were there, we deal with the Foreign Office, with the Secretary of State and his fellows. But by the time it reached the White House, it had an entirely different sheen to it. So you're quite right that the system there is the president has overweening power. Whatever Secretary Marco Rubio might say, he will not dare to offend the president because his job depends on it. And the president is very mercurial. So and what I see now is competitive attempts by his cabinet members to abuse anybody they think the president would want to be abused. That's what seems to be happening at the moment. But you're absolutely right. The rational part of Washington, which I believe has been the Foreign Office, and I've always appreciated the caliber of their diplomats. And then there is a very personalized mercurial system of the White House. Total chaos. That's what's happening. But the White House, as always, wins. It has greater power.
Okay, let's get the Russia view now. Nikita Menkovich. Nikita, you must have heard the speech made by President Trump. He targeted India, he targeted China, he targeted Europe, said that if Europe continues to purchase Russian energy, it's embarrassing. I mean, it cannot be allowed. And then he, of course, had a harangue against NATO and the low budgets, which he got corrected. Nothing about Russia. I mean, you got a free pass, Nikita.
In my honest opinion, the thing we should do about Mr. Trump's speech is to ignore it. Because you see now Mr. Trump, as an American president, can change very few things and means very few things. Because he acts now like a dreamer from the White House. He said, I want sanctions to be implemented. I want tariffs to be higher. I want India to act this way and this way. I want all of you to think that I finished 7 long wars in 3 days. It's only dreams of Mr. Trump. I think most of us know such people, old retired men who like to discuss politics, but don't even understand what are they talking about. In Russia, we talk such people bequests. Now, Mr. Trump does act as a typical bequest. He's an old dreamer who is watching the world policy and think, this thing is not right. I want to be this and this way. The difference is only that Mr. Trump have an access to United States to make his speech public. But I don't think that this position will mean a lot for Russia or for any other country. India itself did ignore Trump demands. And what happened? Nothing terrible, nothing dangerous. It means that Trump and United States now may be ignored.
Okay.
Century of the West domination of the world is over. Now new countries, Russia, China, India, are the main forces in the world. We should decide and discuss problems, but we don't must to think what Trump is or United States think about it. It is not their business. It's up to us.
Yeah, you know what? There's some breaking news coming in, Abhishek. By the way, Donald Trump has just tweeted. It's been 20 minutes since his speech ended, but he's tweeted out already. And Donald Trump says, it was a great honor to speak before the United Nations. I believe the speech was very well received. I don't know where it was, how he's gauging it was well received. It's just been 20 minutes, for God's sake. 20 minutes! And then he says, it focused very much on energy, migration, immigration. I've been talking about this for a very, very long period of time, and this forum was the absolute best from the standpoint of making these 2 important statements. I hope everybody gets to watch it. First he says, well received, then he says, I hope everybody gets to watch it.
I think he's Aina was right there. This is essentially, he was making a stump speech to his mega constituency.
Absolutely. And then he says the teleprompter was broken. The escalator came to a sudden halt as we were riding up to the podium. But both of those events probably made the speech more interesting. Let's listen into that soundbite. This is a crazy guy as a US president. I'm sorry, Purnima. My apologies to you, Mr. Kuznik, as well. You have to bear with him for 3 more years. But here's what he said. Listen to that soundbite. He actually said it. Take a look. Take a listen.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
All right, Peter, is this about the United Nations? I mean, that's a different debate, that United Nations is ineffective. It's not a new one. It's been there for a while. It's just a talk shop for the diplomats to be parroting their own agendas. But is this really about United Nations? I was just wondering, escalator not working, teleprompter not working. Just a while back, there has been a massive security operation, in New York, and a network has been busted by the Secret Service, which involved about 300 servers, 100,000 SIM cards, aimed at compromising the communication security of the United Nations right under the nose of American agencies like CIA, FBI, Secret Service, DIA, whatnot. Is this about a broken American system more than about United Nations, really?
Well, sadly, the United Nations has not been able to play the role that it should be playing, partly because the U.S. has been exercising its veto over Gaza. The U.S. cut already $1 billion of funding to the United Nations. It's considering cutting another $1 billion in funding. Trump is trying to undermine and effectively neuter or destroy the United Nations. So it's very sad. But Trump gets on there with his grievances. You know, in the United States, we're sick of hearing his grievances, which we've been hearing, and then he combines that with his retribution and his campaign. You know, my Russian colleague can ignore what Trump says, but in the United States, we can't really ignore him because he's imposing his own form of fascism here in the streets, in the courts. He's taking powers that no other president ever dreamed of taking, and he's doing this in a way to cut the social programs for the poor people and working people, and to cut the taxes for the billionaires. So we're facing a very, very serious problem in the United States because you've got a Congress without a backbone and a Supreme Court that goes along with anything, rubber stamps what he wants. So this is quite serious for the United States, but it also has broader implications for the world because what he's pushing the Europeans, he bragged about that he convinced the Europeans to increase their military spending from 2% of GDP to 5%. President Eisenhower in 1953 made a great speech which he said that every dollar spent on jet planes, on bombers, on weapons is a dollar that's stolen from the people for building schools, for building highways, for feeding people. I wouldn't celebrate this increase in military spending. I decry it as the world going the wrong direction. But that's the world, the dystopian world that Trump envisions. But it's not. If you look again at his approval ratings in the United States at the 6-month mark, and again at 8 months, they're lower, the lowest of any president in U.S. recent history, except for Trump himself in 2017. So, so that's why Trump is looking to figure out ways to cancel the midterm elections and to cancel the next presidential election and to run again, because he knows that if the American people have a say in it, he and his party are going to be tossed out on their ear. This is not what the American people want. And as we heard before, even MAGA supporters now are embarrassed that they voted for him. So there is some signs internationally of hope, but even in the United States, what he represents right now is so dangerous, so destructive of American principles, American ideals, which I've always been a critic of, but at least other presidents tried to stand up for what they thought the United States represented in the world. Trump doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, we had two MAGA supporters. I mean, one MAGA supporter has found her calling. Finally, her soul has spoken. I have a second MAGA supporter on the show, Mr. Alexander Shajan. He's very, very pro-Donald Trump. Mr. Shajan, welcome to the show. And, I thought you would change your mind after Trump imposed 50% tariff. You didn't. I thought you would change your mind after his comments on India buying Russian oil. You didn't. I thought you would change your mind after Trump's H-1B visa move. I don't know whether you're still a MAGA supporter. Can you please declare your allegiance on the show, sir? Please.
Well, it's almost 30 minutes. I was really not going to come on the show, okay?
Right.
To be very...
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah. Okay, but because it's a very one-sided show, trying to bash the President of the United States.
Why not?
And the United States. Okay, listen, Niranjan, I specifically told Niranjan is going on a one route, and I was not interested to come in the show. Okay, if you let me speak, I will speak. If not, I will thankfully go, and I can come back anytime. We can have some consensus. But if you cut me in between, I'm leaving. I have no offense, but I don't want to bring a fight, okay?
I haven't said a word.
Okay, let me finish. You give 30 minutes for anti-Trumpers, anti-Americans, pro-Gaza, pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas people. Can I finish? The only person that I have respect in this panel who speaks the truth very clearly, I mean, if he agree, we agree to disagree, is Ambassador Warren, okay? So I don't care whatever he says, because that's a pure disagreement. So if you give me time, I will talk, because 30 minutes.
Go ahead,
you
go
gave
ahead,
for-
Alexander, go ahead. Haven't said a word. Sure, go ahead. Yeah, you've been speaking, brother. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to take my time so I'm going to start with where the last panelist said. I did not change my mind yet, okay? Because I believe the tariff issue with India is going to fix soon.
Right.
H-1B visa is not going to affect India.
Right.
And whatever I denounced whatever anti-Indian statements that harshly came out of the cabinet members. I denounced it in the previous shows. I did not support that. So my stand with making America great again, it still stands there along with making India great again campaign by Prime Minister Modi. Okay, I am still there. So my allegiance to make America great again and make India great again has not changed.
What about your allegiance to Trump?
What is it?
What about your allegiance to Trump?
Well, I am a naturalized US citizen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic. I don't pledge my allegiance to the President of the United States because it comes and goes. It changes, okay? So I support President Trump, yes, for the decisions he makes, for the strategies he's made to make America great again. I do support. I'm still a hardcore supporter for that. That is not changed until if he proves that everything that he's doing or everything that he signs on an executive order is going to be against the United States, I will stop my support that day. Until then, I am a
Alexander,
supporter.
but Purnima has already done that. Purnima has already changed her mind.
Purnima has changed her mind.
That is her choice. That is her choice, Mr. Abhishek. That is her choice. That is her decision, and I agree with that. I value that. We saw a cold-blooded murder by an anti-American transgender leftist guy, lunatic guy, on a young man at the age of 31 who enticed those violence. And nobody is debating on that. No world is debating on that. Let me finish, man. Let me finish that. After you can say whatever you want. So nobody is talking about. Okay, Niranjan, go ahead. Let's talk, but I need my time. You can go ahead. Yeah.
I want to ask you, did you, Alexander Sajjan, ask anybody in the American media to pick up the murder of Naga Mallaya, who was beheaded by an immigrant? Did you do that? It was Republic TV. Sir, listen to me, sir. It was Republic TV and not Republicans. It was Republic TV that went to that motel in Dallas, and we reported from outside the hotel in Dallas. We sent a reporter all the way from here in Delhi to Dallas. I want to ask you, what did you do there when an Indian American was beheaded and his head kicked around a motel?
Are you done? Can I finish now?
Yes.
Who made a public comment other than the President of the United States of America strongly condemning that heinous, violent act on that guy in the Dallas motel? Other than the President of the United States of America, he himself called that out, and he said he's going strong on that case. What more you need? What more you need? So every time, any chance the media gets
My
to bash,
question was different. I said, did the American media pick that up?
I did not say American
Did the American media pick that up?
No,
Because
I
American
didn't
media
say
does not
Indian.
give a damn about Indians, sir.
Niranjan, I did not say Indian media. I said the media across the world. They were not talking about it. So what I was trying to say
I assure you, we reported it. We reported it.
You did.
I don't know about American
did.
media, but we reported it.
You did. I didn't say you did not. You did, and you guys supported it, and you broadcasted the live. I agree with that. I'm not talking anything. This is not a me versus Republican TV or Niranjan versus or Mr. Kabul versus Alexander debate. We are talking about what is happening right now. Okay, so I expressed my feeling in the very first minute that I felt like this was a one-sided show, and that is where So let me come back to where my previous panelist talked. He said, so I made very clear on, Niranjan, are you clear about my stand on the MAGA and make India great again thing? Am I very clear?
I understood that you're not a Trump fan, but you are forced to support Trump.
No, I am not forced to. I choose to support. I am not forced to support. I choose to support for what he did and what he continuously doing for the United States of America, where I've been living for last 25 plus years. So when you asked me, I pledge my allegiance to the president, I said no. I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic. That is where I stand. So I'm just ending it there because we don't have enough time to go to my other point.
No, we have enough time, but we'll come back. We have enough time. Don't go anywhere. We have enough time. We have another 20 minutes.
Then again, I have to make this point, and you can discuss on that. In 2026, he said it's going to be a bad year for the midterm, or something is going to happen for the midterm. I'm asking him to go check the latest poll that CNN just broadcasted 2 days ago. On economic policy, Republican Party is up 7 points. On immigration policy, Republican Party is up 13 or 15 points. On crime issues, the Republican Party is up 21 points.
No. Fake news. Fake news. Fake news.
Listen, Alexander.
Fake news.
You know, Alexander, since you mentioned, okay, go ahead, Niranjan.
No, you please go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay, no, I want to bring in Purnima Nath on this because Alexander believes come midterms, the picture is that Republicans are up under Trump. But Purnima, you were just a while back mentioning that the Indian American community's support to Republican Party might taper off, and that's going to have some consequences. I believe can have some consequences during the midterm polls.
It is going to be a sweep, Mr. Abhishek
Abur. About us, sir. And I'll tell you what is the difference between him and us. He's a Christian, a converted Christian in America, and I'm a Hindu.
Who are you talking about? You're talking about Alexander?
Today, yes, Mr. Alexander. Today, President.
How does that matter? One second. How does that matter? How does that matter? 1 minute, Purnima. Just for the sake of because you brought his religion in there, how does that matter? How does that matter?
I'll tell you. That's exactly where I'm going to. Today in UNGA speech, Trump called out that most persecuted people in the world is Christian. Could you please tell me who in the world actually survived for a millennium beyond Islamic invasion and Christian persecution? This is Hindus. Today in India, in America, the Indian communities are getting targeted. The Alexander, Mr. Drunk, Duncan and literally a Senate candidate from Texas has spoken out. I didn't speak when you were speaking, Alexander. I will not let you disturb me. I'll not take my time. You've spoken non-interrupted for 10 minutes and Mr. Kapoor.
No, Alexander, this is not done. Alexander, we've had a very decent debate. Einar hasn't spoken. Kuznik hasn't spoken.
And I'll not allow that. I need my time as well. He was speaking non-interrupted for 10 minutes.
Stop, please go ahead.
Mr. Niranjan, you have to keep quiet at this point of time. I listen to you very patiently. In America, you have talked about that our candidate, GOP candidate from Texas has actually targeted Hanuman. So you are, as an Indian community, you have no sympathy for Indian community, for Hindus. You have no sympathy what we go through over here. They're calling us shit eaters. They're calling us cow urine drinkers. They're calling us scammers, Indian scammers taking US jobs. You have no sympathy for the micro minority 1% who's successful in this country. And you're shamelessly saying that I am also GOP. I'm also President Trump supporter. I supported not once, not twice, thrice, for God's sake. I've also supported for the betterment of this country. And he actually promised to go after illegals. He actually went for H-1B. Is H-1B illegal? Didn't his wife himself come to this country in tourist visa, then applied for H-1B, then somehow got a genius visa? Oops. How did his grandparent come, Mr. Frederick Trump? He came here and worked as a barber. Did he bring $1 billion to invest in this country? How about Mary McLeod, his mother? Came to this country in 1930. Did she bring $1 billion when she was working as a maid, house servant in this country Today he's imposing $100,000 to H-1B and telling every H-1B availer actually is a fraud in this country, and he emboldened his MAGA base to go after scapegoating Indians, especially the Hindus, that we are demon worshipper. Don't you have shame? Do you not have a shame?
Am I done?
I mean, Alexander.
Of course not.
Alexander.
You talked about gas prices.
Let us structure this.
I came in between. I just thought it was you and Niranjan Kapoorji. That's why I just came in. If I'm done,
Okay,
I
one
have to
second.
leave.
Can we please bring order? Purnima, I'm requesting you. Purnima, I'm with you. I request. I agree with you on the point that yes, there is a racist. What? I'm coming, Alexander. See, Alexander, I want to maintain the basic decorum. See, we may have different, very strong but different opinions.
We do.
Hear me out. I'm still the host of this show along with Abhishek. Last I checked.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'd like to intervene right now to bring order. And Purnima made a point.
Do I have to stay?
Yeah,
My
with your
question is,
permission, I want to complete my point and bring in Einar Tangen. 1 second. Peter Kuznik has to leave. Einar, can I request you? I'll get in Peter. One word from Peter, and then he's leaving because I want to hear. I saw Einar's expressions. I want to get his view on that. But I'll go to Peter for 1 point. Peter, we have 3 Americas on the panel. We have an anti-Trump America on the panel. We have a pro-Republican anti-Trump America on the panel. And then we have a pro-Trump, pro-Republican America on the panel, right? It's fantastic. It's good. Democracy is thriving in America. Or, sorry. Jimmy Kimmel was just kicked out. If this show was live in America, I'm not sure that we'll still be sitting here. But that's not the point. Point is, there is an element of racist targeting of Indians in the current administration of Donald Trump. Peter, you've been on the debate when one of Trump's closest aides referred to Brahmins, right? Now, he has no idea, right? He has no idea what that term even means. But the way they've gone after Indians, I agree to that point. I agree what Purnima said, because Indians, most of your top US companies are headed by Indians. We have, Alexander, I'm going to Peter, please, with your permission, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
Alexander, Peter has to leave.
Peter has to leave. I request you. It's a decent debate. I'll come back to you. I promise you. Peter, but there is an element of attacking Indians. There's an element of going after Indians in a very racial profiling manner. Peter.
It's not just Indians. Trump is demonizing all the minorities. What MAGA represents is not make America great again, it's make America white again. He wants to go back to the 19th century when you had the kind of immigrants who he liked, the Northern Europeans, some of the Central Europeans. He didn't like the Southern Europeans and the Russians and the Jews and the Italians coming here. That's not the world Trump wants. And so it's not just the Indians who are being attacked, it's all non-white peoples. And you look at the social programs, you look where he's sending the National Guard and the Marines. It's to go after the immigrant communities and the minority communities. When he says he wants a war against crime, it means a war against Black people in the United States and Hispanic people. So I'm sorry that my Indian colleague took so long to wake up, because when she goes back and looks at it, this is who Trump was from the very beginning. He jumped on the national scene by denying that Barack Obama was born in the United States. I mean, for years, he spent on that topic. So, I know that the Indian community is suffering now and waking up. And my other Indian American colleague had talked about those polls. Yes, and on some of the issues in the latest poll, Trump has got the plurality. However, American people despise Trump. Because it's not just make America great again, it's make America cruel again. And the American people, like my other Indian colleague, did not think that this is what they were getting when they voted for Trump. And what they're seeing now is Trump unleashed, Trump's cruelty, Trump's attacks on poor people. And the thing about dealing with a bully, maybe my Russian colleague can ignore him, but what's essential is that the world stand up. The only way you deal with a bully is by punching him in the nose, by standing up to him. Once you start to compromise, once you give in, it only reinforces him. So I'm glad to see India. I'm glad to see Brazil. I'm glad to see China. I'm glad to see Russia stand up to this guy, because what he represents is a menace for all of humanity right now. And we're at a crucial juncture in terms of world history, because we've got nuclear threats on the agenda of a sort that we haven't seen since 1962. And you've got the United States, reinforcing some of the backward tendencies in Europe. And this anti-China policy, as well as the anti-India policy, is threatening global security now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Peter, for that perspective. And I want to take this to Ambassador Vora and Einar first. Einar, I very distinctly remember the first UNGA address of President Trump of the first administration. That was in 2018. He really went hammer and tongs against China. He singled out China. It was just about China, China, China. It was a harangue against China. Compare 2018 with today. Tonight, President Trump targeted India, President Trump targeted China, President Trump targeted Europe, President Trump was essentially and the United Nations. He was, is this a very different America? Is this about the United States of America as much as it is about President Trump?
I think going back to my original point, Donald Trump is under tremendous pressure politically because of the Epstein case, and he's doing everything he can. But there are other parts to this. This is a gentleman who is now worth $5 billion more 9 months after being sworn into office. He also neglects to mention, when he was vilifying China and India, that the U.S. increased their purchases of yellow cake and strategic minerals from Russia by 28%. The hypocrisy is astounding. The fact that we're talking about these other issues, racism, things that we already know about Trump, is sad. We should be really talking about what's going on behind the curtain. The wealth that he's amassing, this kind of going after people, using the departments, saying that he is fair game to make enemies. And you're right. Your license of your television station would be under threat in the United States because you're saying something that he doesn't like. And he said that's what the FCC is there for. He probably would use the Justice Department to go after you personally, as he's done in so many other cases. So please, let us keep a sense of perspective. We can marvel at the kind of nonsense that he says, but in the end, we have to be looking at what he's actually doing.
Okay. Ambassador Vora, we began by discussing whether we are dealing with two Washington DCs. But is it actually about...
Coming to you next, Alexander. Coming to you next.
Coming to you, Alexander. I'll come to you. Ambassador Vora, your quick comments. Are we actually dealing with an America which is... Trump is just, representative of what's really happening in America, a different America in the morning, a different America in the evening, a different America in one post, a different America in another post?
You're probably right. I think it's a disturbed society at the moment. We see unrelenting gun violence. We see a lot of things going on in America that is not the America that I lived in and that I grew to love so much. There's something that has changed. Why would Trump be doing whatever he's doing? Obviously, there's maybe a method in his madness. It's very easy for us to revile him and criticize him and say the fellow is insane, he's this, that, and the other. But whatever he's doing, obviously he feels that he's on the right track. My own assessment, sir, given all this stuff that he has a narcissistic personality, he wants to be adored, he wants to be loved. He probably thinks that he himself represents America, and that if he's loved by the world, America will also be loved by the world. And that if the world says, you are great, Mr. President, that means America is great again. That's my assessment of the way he's...
Okay.
Yeah, but sir...
Alexander.
Alexander. See, Alexander, every Indian, and I'll end by saying, and this is you can have the last word. I remember covering, Abhishek, I think it was 2019 when we covered the Howdy Modi. We all came there, right? There was a time when people would do, they actually did puja, hoping that Donald Trump comes to power, right? Contrast that to a few weeks back when people are burning effigies of Donald Trump in different parts of the country, right? But that's just, you see how far we've come. And hats off to you. I don't know, I mean, great, you have a view about Donald Trump, that's great, but you see the kind of damage he's done to the relationship between India and America. If you ask me, it's irreparable at many levels. I don't think India will ever trust America the way we did before. I don't think we can go back to that for a very long time. Alexander, last word.
Niranjan, you are absolutely right. That is the human nature. I agree with you today, and I love you with all my heart. Tomorrow I hate you. I want to see the worst from you. That's how human are. That's how human nature is. So
no, it's not.
Please do not come to the...
No, that's not human nature. Please, what human nature is this? So, which human are you talking about? Which human are you talking about?
You're talking about President Trump, Niranjan.
Mr. Trump said he hates his opponents. Mr. Trump specifically said he hates his opponents and he doesn't want the best for his opponents. He is hateful, sir. He is hateful. And we cannot ignore the vicious agenda he's actually promoting.
Can I finish?
You know what? I think we have run out of time. But the beauty is, Purnima and Alexander, that President Trump... Okay, 10 seconds.
10 seconds, Alexander, complete your point, then Nikita also. 10 seconds, Alexander.
No, I just have to make it very clear to her. She called me that I'm a converted Christian. Well, you know what? I will bring in a lot more Hindu Republican leaders than you, and they will tell you if the Indian Americans are being targeted or not, or they are taken care. So please do not bring lie when you come to a national channel like this. Please do not lie like that. That is not happening in the United States of America. Okay?
Well, registered Republicans, both of you.
No amount of spin is going to change this, okay? You talked about Chandra, Abhishek and Niranjan talked about Chandra Nagamalaya. I tell you, Fox News has covered it. Fox News has literally
Nobody covered it. Because racist America can't deal with the truth. I'm sorry. Racist America can't deal with the truth. They don't have the courage to report the truth.
Yes,
and by the way,
that is your version, Niranjan. That is your version.
Your version.
I should agree to disagree with that.
If you claim, I'm sorry to say, Alexander, but if you claim to be representative of Indian Americans, you're doing a damn pathetic job right now.
Violence going on in the United States.
Yeah, you can normalize it. You can normalize it. You can normalize violence. That's fine.
Niranjan, Purnima, listen to me, please. The beauty of this all is that while today President Trump has swung the other way and spoken about India, Pakistan ceasefire again, and India buying Russian oil again.
Nikita, last word. He's been waiting. 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm giving an opportunity again, Niranjan, because President Trump is not going to remain the same. He's going to swing again, and maybe we'll have another conversation.
10 seconds, Nikita, last word. Okay, 10 seconds. Yeah.
You see why we should ignore United States. These two guys from Washington should solve those problems at first. And before that, please leave us alone. Leave Russia, leave Ukraine, leave India. It is not your business. Solve your inside problem.
Yeah.
Discuss your problems, but leave us alone, please.
Okay. Trump mentioned everyone, he attacked everyone, but there's one thing that he forgot to attack, Abhishek. He forgot to attack his own country because they continue to do trade with Russia. And in fact, their trade has increased almost 23%. We keep talking about it. He forgot to attack America, or at least his trade advisors, on the continued purchases from Russia.
And the beauty is, Niranjan, that we'll get another opportunity. President Trump is not going to disappoint us because he swings from one way to other every morning, every evening.
Another headline then. We'll wait for that. Thank you for watching us on The Debate, for being with us. Arnab will be back on the show.
Thank you so much for watching.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा प्योर मसाला।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
ये बड़ी गाड़ी वाले ऐसे ही रैश चलाते हैं। चुप, तुमने तो गाड़ी वालों को ही विलन बना दिया।
ये देखो
Cubo dash cams. Get smart, get Cubo.
I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky, and this world is my home where I'm living my best.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics. Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा
मसाला। मेरी गाड़ी ठोकेगा पर गलती तो आपकी है। मेरी गलती? तू जानता मेरा बाप कौन है? ये देखो पापा और गलती दोनों याद आ जाएंगे। अब देखा किसने सिग्नल तोड़ा?
Cubo dash cams. Get smart, get Cubo.
विराज रायचन स्टील।
स्टील? आपने वरदान स्टील का नाम सुना होगा।
ऑफ कोर्स। आप मिस्टर वरदान के बेटे हैं?
नहीं।
छोटे भाई?
नहीं।
दामाद?
नहीं।
फिर?
शेयर होल्डर। सही टाइम पे उनके शेयर्स खरीदे, तभी आज मैं यहाँ हूँ।
जो आगे की सोचते हैं ग्रो करते हैं। डाउनलोड ग्रो फॉर स्टॉक्स, म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड IPO।
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
ये बड़ी गाड़ी वाले ऐसे ही रैश चलाते हैं। चुप, तुमने तो गाड़ी वालों को ही विलन बना दिया।
ये देखो
Cubo dash cams. Get smart, get Cubo.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा मसाला। इशारा समझ ले इशारा समझ ले हवा में फिजा में नजारा में इशारे संग हो जा तू मेरे। इशारा समझ ले इशारा समझ ले।
Last night, someone broke into Ishan's room. Well, almost. But Cubo AI stopped him with a loud alarm and alerted the mom.
Cubo smart security cameras. Not just record, it protects.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं।
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime, रहो बेफिक्र।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
In the heart of the jungle roams the finest creature, and through the chaos of the sparkling city lights, I am reminded of the timeless valor of the majestic tiger. In life's wild journey, we have one shot to thrill. And when done flawlessly, we unwind and allow our spirits to rejuvenate. Royal Ranthambore, India's finest, yet.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा।
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for the debate.